They laughed when he sat on the star throne until it came alive beneath him. Before we dive in, drop a quick hi in the comments and tell me where you're watching from. It really helps the channel grow. Amid the glittering star cruisers and swarming alien envoys of the Galactic Council, Daniel Reed stood out, a lone human in a hall of legends. The grand chamber was breathtaking. Towering crystal pillars reached toward a vast dome showing real-time star systems swirling above. The black marble floor shimmered with points of light, giving the eerie illusion of walking on the edge of space itself. Daniel straightened his plain gray diplomatic suit, feeling painfully ordinary next to the alien grandeur. The Vidians shimmered in living fabrics that changed color with emotion. The insectoid tail glittered in gem-covered exoskeletons. Even the cold-blooded Moroi gleamed in armor polished like silver fire. This was no ordinary gathering. It was the Ascension Ceremony, a once-in-a-century event to choose the next High Sovereign of the galaxy. Humanity had joined only 5 years ago as mere observers, barely acknowledged as civilized. Daniel's presence here was historic and unwelcome. Ambassador Lorax, the current High Sovereign, drifted toward him, skin glowing like oil on water. "Ambassador Reed," the Vidian sang, voice echoing like crystal. "How curious that you've chosen to attend. This ceremony is for council members, not spectators." Daniel smiled politely. "Earth received an invitation, High Sovereign. We thought it diplomatic to accept." Blue ripples of amusement crossed Lorax's skin. "Then perhaps your presence will entertain the elders." Before Daniel could reply, a deep tone rolled through the hall. The ceremony had begun. Thousands of delegates filled the tiers surrounding the star throne. A mysterious relic carved from translucent stone, its glowing glyphs pulsing softly. "The star throne predates us all," murmured Ambassador Krell of the Moroi beside Daniel. "Only the worthy can awaken it. Legend says it was built by the lost precursors." Daniel nodded. Humanity had studied those myths too. An ancient civilization vanished 50,000 years ago, leaving behind artifacts of unimaginable power. Lorax raised a hand, voice amplified. "For 100 cycles I have guided this council. Now, the throne shall choose our next sovereign." One by one, candidates approached the throne, placed their hand on it, and recited the oath. The throne glowed faintly each time, but nothing more. "The Star Throne recognizes all the worthy," Lorax declared. "Before the final vote, any delegate may test their unworthiness." It was tradition, a moment of pomp and vanity. Krell chuckled beside Daniel. "Watch, human. This is where the younglings embarrass themselves." Indeed, a parade of delegates took turns at the throne, milking applause and laughter. But as Daniel watched, he felt something strange, a low hum beneath his feet, subtle but growing. He frowned. "Do you feel that?" he asked Krell. "Feel what?" the Moroi replied, confused. Before Daniel could answer, chaos erupted. The Drakari accused the Vidian alliance of breaking weapons treaties. Shouts echoed, colors flared, and the calm order of the chamber shattered into rage. The vibration intensified. The Star Throne pulsed wildly now, feeding on the chaos. Daniel stared as its glow deepened, threads of energy crawling across the platform. "This can't be good," he muttered. The council chamber descended into chaos. Factions split, alliances turned, and in the storm of voices and light, the Star Throne began to awaken. Lorax's commanding voice sliced through the uproar. "This chaos dishonors the Ascension Ceremony. Order must be restored." The chamber quieted, but the tension still crackled in the air. As the ritual resumed, Daniel's focus locked on the Star Throne, its glyphs now pulsing faster, glowing brighter with every argument. Something was reacting to the conflict. One by one, faction leaders made their pledges. Commander Vex's sounded more like a threat, while Thal's trembled with anger. Each vow seemed to intensify the throne's response. When the last leader stepped away, Lorax asked, "Are there any final demonstrations?" The vibration had grown so strong that Daniel could feel it in his bones. Drawn by instinct more than reason, he stepped toward the dais. "What is the human doing?" someone shouted. Daniel ignored them, eyes fixed on the glowing throne. Its glyphs were rearranging into strange new symbols. "Ambassador Reed," Lorax warned, "observers do not approach the throne." But Daniel kept moving. Somehow he knew the throne was responding to the chaos in the room. Laughter rippled through the chamber as Commander Vex sneered. "The primitive wants to sit on the star throne." Even Lorax's skin flickered blue with amusement. At the base of the throne, Daniel hesitated. Up close, the patterns weren't decorative. They were equations, coordinates, something alive. Every instinct told him he was crossing a line, but he couldn't stop. "It's reacting to the conflict," Daniel said loudly. "Can't you see?" Vex scoffed. "The human understands nothing of precursor tech." But before the guards could reach him, Daniel placed his hand on the throne. A surge of energy flooded through him, brilliant, blinding, but not painful. The glyphs spun and reshaped into symbols he somehow understood. "It's a warning," he gasped. "The throne detects growing conflict across the factions." "Remove him," Vex barked, but Daniel moved faster. He sat down. The chamber erupted in laughter, then fell silent as the throne ignited. A beam of radiant light enveloped Daniel. The dome above shifted, showing not stars, but the galaxy's history. Civilizations rising and falling, endless wars, and finally, the precursors. Not a single race, but many united after mutual destruction. They built the Star Throne not as a weapon, but as a guardian, to warn when the galaxy again approached chaos. When Daniel spoke, his voice echoed with alien power. "The throne doesn't choose rulers. It activates when we edge toward war." Lorax stared in disbelief. "No one has ever awakened it." "It's not about power," Daniel said. "It responds to balance, to neutrality." Vex snarled. "And it chose a human? A species barely out of its cradle?" "It didn't choose me," Daniel said. "It responded because I have no faction. Humanity has no ancient grudges." Above them, projections revealed current tensions, territorial disputes, military expansions, resource hoarding, all mirroring the same patterns that had destroyed the precursors. "The throne isn't a crown," Daniel finished quietly. "It's a warning system, and it's telling us we're repeating history. The Star Throne was built to awaken when the galaxy repeated its old mistakes, to warn before destruction returned." Ambassador Thal stepped forward, his skin shifting with concern. "What guidance does it offer?" Daniel closed his eyes as the throne's knowledge surged through him. "Balance must be restored," he said. "If we stay this course, war will erupt within 20 years, with billions lost." Gasps rippled through the chamber. The throne responded to the growing alarm, shifting its projections to show alternate futures, peaceful ones born from cooperation, and dark ones from continued division. "It's overwhelming," Daniel admitted, voice trembling. "But I can see the paths. Treaties to reinforce, misunderstandings to mend, resources to share instead of fight over." High Sovereign Lorax studied him, curiosity replacing mockery. "And humanity's role in this balance?" Daniel smiled faintly. "Mediators. The throne sees us as bridges, neutral, without the ancient grudges that poison the Council's unity." Commander Vex scoffed. "We should trust our fate to primitives?" "No," Daniel said calmly. "You should remember your differences are smaller than what unites you. The precursors learned that too late." The energy around him began to fade, the throne slowly releasing its hold. "My time's ending," he said. "But its message is clear. The Council stands on the edge of repeating history." Before the glow vanished completely, the throne filled Daniel's mind with frameworks, ancient precursor treaties designed to prevent the very conflicts now brewing. "With your permission," Daniel said, steadying himself, "I'd like to share what it showed me." Lorax glanced at the assembly, then nodded. "Proceed, Ambassador Reed." Daniel outlined new diplomatic measures, resource sharing in the Tarsus sector, restructured military pacts to ease Drakari fears while securing the Vidian alliance. Above them, projections revealed possible futures: declining military buildups, flourishing trade, stable borders. The hall fell silent, mesmerized. When he finished, the throne's light dimmed completely. Lorax approached. In all my centuries, I've never seen such a thing. The Star Throne spoke through a human, the least advanced among us. Not chosen, Daniel corrected softly. It responded to neutrality. Any faction-free race could have done the same. Perhaps, Lorax mused, but none of us are neutral anymore. We all carry too much history. Turning to the council, he said, "Before we crown a new sovereign, we must heed this warning." Vex protested, but the Moroi ambassador interjected. Ignoring the throne's message would be folly. The precursor's wisdom was unmatched. We should listen. For the first time in centuries, the council's debate turned calm, reflective. No shouting, only thought. Thal moved beside Daniel quietly. "How do you feel?" "Overwhelmed," Daniel admitted. "The throne gave me knowledge I barely understand. History, technology, diplomacy." Thal's skin shifted to a contemplative green. "Few who deserve power seek it. That may be why it answered you." Lorax called for order once more. "We will recess for 3 days to study what we've learned from Ambassador Reed." The motion passed without argument. As delegates began to leave, Lorax approached Daniel. "You'll attend an emergency session. The council needs your insight." "Of course," Daniel said, weary but resolute. Lorax gave a faint smile. "You realize this changes everything. No one who's communed with the Star Throne remains a mere observer. Humanity now holds a place of influence." Daniel looked back at the silent throne as they exited the chamber. It seemed inert again, but deep inside he still felt its echo pulsing quietly in his mind. The Star Throne was built to awaken when the galaxy repeated its old mistakes, to warn before destruction returned. Ambassador Thal stepped forward, his skin shifting with concern. "What guidance does it offer?" Daniel closed his eyes as the throne's knowledge surged through him. "Balance must be restored," he said. "If we stay this course, war will erupt within 20 years, with billions lost." Gasps rippled through the chamber. The throne responded to the growing alarm, shifting its projections to show alternate futures, peaceful ones born from cooperation and dark ones from continued division. "It's overwhelming," Daniel admitted, voice trembling, "but I can see the paths, treaties to reinforce, misunderstandings to mend, resources to share instead of fight over." High Sovereign Lorax studied him, curiosity replacing mockery. "And humanity's role in this balance?" Daniel smiled faintly. "Mediators. The throne sees us as bridges, neutral, without the ancient grudges that poison the council's unity." Commander Vex scoffed. "We should trust our fate to primitives?" "No," Daniel said calmly. "You should remember your differences are smaller than what unites you. The precursors learned that too late." The energy around him began to fade, the throne slowly releasing its hold. "My time's ending," he said. "But its message is clear. The council stands on the edge of repeating history." Before the glow vanished completely, the throne filled Daniel's mind with frameworks, ancient precursor treaties designed to prevent the very conflicts now brewing. "With your permission," Daniel said, steadying himself, "I'd like to share what it showed me." Lorax glanced at the assembly, then nodded. "Proceed, Ambassador Reed." Daniel outlined new diplomatic measures, resource sharing in the Tarsus sector, restructured military pacts to ease Drakari fears while securing the Vidian alliance. Above them, projections revealed possible futures, declining military buildups, flourishing trade, stable borders. The hall fell silent, mesmerized. When he finished, the throne's light dimmed completely. Lorax approached. "In all my centuries, I've never seen such a thing. The Star Throne spoke through a human, the least advanced among us." "Not chosen," Daniel corrected softly. "It responded to neutrality. Any faction-free race could have done the same." "Perhaps," Lorax mused, "but none of us are neutral anymore. We all carry too much history." Turning to the council, he said, "Before we crown a new sovereign, we must heed this warning." Vex protested, but the Moroi ambassador interjected. "Ignoring the throne's message would be folly. The precursor's wisdom was unmatched. We should listen." For the first time in centuries, the council's debate turned calm, reflective. No shouting, only thought. Thal moved beside Daniel quietly. "How do you feel?" "Overwhelmed," Daniel admitted. "The throne gave me knowledge I barely understand. History, technology, diplomacy." Thal's skin shifted to a contemplative green. "Few who deserve power seek it. That may be why it answered you." Lorax called for order once more. "We will recess for 3 days to study what we've learned from Ambassador Reed." The motion passed without argument. As delegates began to leave, Lorax approached Daniel. "You'll attend an emergency session. The council needs your insight." "Of course," Daniel said, weary but resolute. Lorax gave a faint smile. "You realize this changes everything. No one who's communed with the Star Throne remains a mere observer. Humanity now holds a place of influence." Daniel looked back at the silent throne as they exited the chamber. It seemed inert again, but deep inside he still felt its echo pulsing quietly in his mind. For hours Daniel presented the diplomatic frameworks the Star Throne had placed in his mind. Resource-sharing treaties for disputed systems, defense alliances to halt arms races, and cultural exchanges meant to bridge centuries-old rivalries. As he spoke, the room's hostility slowly softened. Even Commander Vex leaned forward, grudgingly intrigued by a security pact that let the DystoHFY maintain defense forces without threatening others. When Daniel finished, High Sovereign Lorax finally broke the silence. "These proposals warrant deep consideration. We'll adjourn to review them with our factions." As the council dispersed, Ambassador Thal approached. "You've given us much to think about, human," he said. "But not all see this as peace, while some view the throne's awakening as a threat to their power." Daniel sighed. "I'm beginning to realize that." "Be careful," Thal warned, his skin glowing with uneasy orange hues. "What you carry makes you both priceless hire and hunted." Back in his quarters, Daniel tried to bring order to the chaos in his head, dictating fragments of ancient wisdom into his datapad before they faded. A chime interrupted him. "Priority transmission from Earth Command," the AI announced. A hologram flickered to life. "Admiral Helen Chin, Earth's highest-ranking Space Force officer." "Ambassador Reed," she said, her tone sharp with urgency. "We've received reports you activated precursor tech. Is it true?" Daniel spent half an hour recounting everything. Chin listened, her expression growing darker. "This changes everything," she said finally. "The Security Council wants to know if this throne grants us any strategic edge." Daniel frowned. "Admiral, that thinking, the power struggle, it's exactly what the throne warned against. The precursors destroyed themselves chasing advantage." "Irony noted," Chin replied. "But my orders are clear. Find out what benefits Earth can gain." "The benefit is cooperation, not dominance," Daniel said firmly. "The throne showed me millennia of collapse, civilizations torn apart by greed and fear. The pattern is always the same." Chin studied him. "You've changed, Reed. 3 days ago you were frustrated by our lowly observer status." 3 days ago," Daniel said quietly, "I hadn't lived through 50,000 years of history in minutes. Cooperation saves, competition kills." Chin sighed. "Idealism doesn't win wars." "Then win peace instead," Daniel countered. "The throne named humanity as mediators. We're neutral, untainted by the Council's grudges. That's our power." Chin hesitated, then nodded. "I'll relay your view to the Security Council. But tread carefully, Ambassador. You're deep in uncharted territory." When the transmission ended, Daniel stared at the fading hologram. Was Earth already preparing to exploit what it didn't understand? His doubts were cut short by another chime. High Sovereign Lorax entered without ceremony. "Ambassador Reed," they began, "the Council has reviewed your proposals. There is tentative support, but grave concern over the throne's choice of a human vessel." Daniel's pulse quickened. "Concern? Some believe the knowledge should be transferred to a more stable species," Lorax said delicately. Daniel froze. "Transferred? How?" There are technologies that can extract information from a mind, Lorax said, skin rippling with tension. Risky, yes, but it would preserve the data. Daniel's voice hardened. You mean forced mind extraction? Think of the greater good, Lorax urged. Billions depend on this knowledge. Surely one human's discomfort? The throne chose me for a reason, Daniel cut in. A human untainted by your politics. You'd twist its message into more power plays. Lorax's tone chilled. This is not a request, Ambassador. The Security Directorate has authority to compel compliance. Daniel exhaled bitterly. You want the knowledge, not the messenger. I argued for voluntary cooperation, Lorax said softly. This compromise offers the illusion of choice. You have until tomorrow's session. Choose wisely. When Lorax left, silence settled, heavy and suffocating. Daniel began to pace. Earth was too far to help, and no faction would defy the Directorate, except maybe one. Connect me to Ambassador Krell of the Moroi, Daniel ordered. Moments later, Krell's scaled face appeared. Daniel explained everything. Hardly shocking, Krell said. Knowledge is the Council's true currency. Did you expect them to let a newcomer hold the vault key? I expected them to honor diplomatic law, Daniel snapped. Can you help me? Krell's eyes narrowed. Forced mind extraction violates our oldest laws, but opposing the Directorate would endanger my people's standing. Daniel leaned closer. Then remember your heritage. The throne showed me something. The Moroi were part of the original Precursor Coalition. You've forgotten your legacy, but it's written in your DNA. Krell went still. You speak of the ancient kinship. A myth. It's truth, Daniel insisted. The Moroi helped create the Star Throne. You have more claim to protect it than any bureaucrat. Krell's gaze hardened, awe mixing with resolve. If what you say is true, Ambassador, then the galaxy may yet change again. It changes everything, Krell said. Meet me at the Historical Archives in 1 hour. Come alone, and tell no one. The archives occupied an entire tower within the Council complex, walls lined with crystalline records from the dawn of interstellar civilization. Daniel found Krell waiting in a secluded alcove, ancient data shards glinting around him. I've searched our oldest files since we spoke, Krell began without greeting. There are references to a genetic memory test that can confirm precursor descent. How? Daniel asked. It requires a direct neural link to a precursor artifact. If the subject bears the right markers, the artifact reacts. Daniel's eyes widened. The Star Throne. Precisely. Krell nodded. If I can prove Moroi lineage, I can invoke ancient rights of protection for both you and the knowledge you carry. Will the Council honor that? They must, Krell said grimly. Precursor law supersedes all others under the founding treaties, long forgotten but still binding. Daniel hesitated. The Grand Hall's under heavy guard. Not for a senior ambassador conducting research, Krell replied, holding up an authorization chip. An hour later, the vast chamber loomed silent, the Star Throne glowing faintly in the shadows. The Security Directorate monitors this place, Daniel whispered. We won't have much time. Krell approached the throne. If we're right, it will recognize my heritage. He placed a scaled hand on the armrest. At first, nothing. Then faint glyphs ignited. Soft amber light pulsing like a heartbeat distinct from the blue energy Daniel had seen. It knows you, Daniel breathed. Krell's eyes widened. I feel it. Ancestral memories awakening. The Moroi were indeed precursors. We called ourselves the Voskiri. The glow enveloped Krell, cocooning him in light. When it faded, he turned to Daniel, voice steady with new purpose. The throne has confirmed it. You are the knowledge bearer, and I am bound as guardian. Under precursor law, no faction may interfere with our mission. Mission? Daniel asked. To reactivate the conquered protocols, the original governance network of the Precursor Coalition. The throne is only one node of it. Before Daniel could respond, the chamber doors hissed open. Commander Vex stormed in with armed guards. What is the meaning of this? He barked. This chamber is sealed. I'm conducting sanctioned historical research, Krell replied calmly. offering the chip. Not for a senior ambassador conducting research. Krell held up an authorization chip. I've secured clearance. An hour later, they stood before the Star Throne. The chamber felt massive without the thousands of delegates. The Directorate monitors this room, Daniel whispered. Then we move quickly, Krell said, stepping forward. He placed a scaled hand on the throne. For a moment, nothing. Then amber glyphs bloomed across the surface, pulsing with life. It recognizes you, Daniel breathed. I can feel it, Krell said in awe. Ancestral memories. The Moroi were indeed precursors. We called ourselves Voskari. The throne's glow enveloped him, cocooning his form in golden light. When it faded, Krell turned with new authority. The throne confirmed it, he said. You are the knowledge bearer, and I, your guardian. Under precursor law, no one may interfere. Interfere with what? Daniel asked. The reactivation of the conquered protocols, the ancient governance network created to prevent galactic wars. Before Daniel could respond, the chamber doors hissed open. Commander Vex entered with armed Drari guards. What's the meaning of this? He demanded. This chamber is sealed. I'm conducting authorized research with Ambassador Reed, Krell replied coolly, showing his clearance. Vex scanned the chip and scowled. Research involving the Star Throne requires Directorate approval. You'll both come with us. We will not. Krell's voice was iron. By the authority of precursor law and the founding treaties, I invoke guardian protection for the knowledge bearer. Vex froze. Precursor law? That hasn't been invoked in millennia. Yet it remains binding, Krell said. The throne confirmed my lineage, and Reed's role. Interfere, and you violate the Council's covenant. Even the guards hesitated, uncertain. Then High Sovereign Lorax entered with Ambassador Thal and others. What is happening here? Lorax demanded, skin flashing alarm colors. Krell quickly explained everything. The throne's confirmation of his heritage and Daniel's designation. Lorax studied them both. If this is true, then Ambassador Reed is protected under laws older than the Council itself. This is madness, Vex snapped. We can't let myths dictate policy. The treaties are explicit, Thal interjected calmly. Precursor law overrides Council authority in all matters concerning precursor artifacts. Lorax turned to Daniel. And what mission does this protection entail? To restore the Concord Protocols, Daniel answered. The original network built by the precursors to prevent the very conflicts threatening the Council today. Vex sneered. A convenient story. Where is this network? Krell's scaled lips curled. Hidden in plain sight. The Council's architecture is part of it. He approached one of the glowing crystal pillars encircling the hall, placed his hand upon it, and spoke in a forgotten language, one Daniel somehow understood. The pillar flared to life in amber light, then another, and another. One by one, the pillars linked, forming a circuit of shimmering energy. The floor beneath them lit with swirling constellations and shifting geometry. The conquered chamber, Krell announced, the hall's true purpose, forgotten for thousands of years. Delegates gasped as the dome above changed, displaying an interactive map of the galaxy, not just stars, but trade routes, migration flows, and diplomatic ties. It's a living model of the galactic ecosystem, Daniel explained. It identifies instability and suggests balance before conflict begins. Lorax approached a pillar cautiously. You propose to let this system replace the Council? Not replace, Daniel said. Enhance. The conquered doesn't rule. It guides. Vex scanned it, eyes narrowing. Research involving the throne requires Security Directorate clearance. You'll both come with us. We will not, Krell said, voice hardening. By authority of precursor law and the founding treaties, I invoke the right of guardian protection for the knowledge bearer. Vex froze. Precursor law? That hasn't been invoked in millennia. Yet it remains binding, Krell countered. The throne confirmed my lineage and Ambassador Reed's role. Interfere, and you violate the Council's foundation. Uncertainty rippled through the guards. Before anyone could act, High Sovereign Lorax entered with several faction leaders. What's happening here? Lorax demanded, colors flickering with alarm. Krell explained swiftly the throne's reaction, his confirmed lineage, and Daniel's designation. Lorax's tone softened. If true, this changes everything. Under those laws, the human is protected. This is madness, Vex snapped. We can't let dead myths dictate policy. The treaties are clear, Ambassador Phalanx interjected. Precursor law takes precedence in matters involving their technology. Lorax turned to Daniel. Then tell us, what is your mission? To reactivate the Concord Protocols, Daniel said, a network created to prevent the very factional chaos now threatening the Council. The throne is just one piece. Convenient, Vex sneered. And where is this network? Here, Krell said simply. Hidden in plain sight. He placed his hand on a crystal pillar beside the dais and spoke in the ancient tongue, a language Daniel somehow understood. The pillar flared amber. Then others lit up one by one, encircling the chamber in radiant geometry. The black floor came alive, constellations of light forming intricate patterns. The dome above projected not just stars, but the living network of the galaxy. Trade routes, alliances, migrations, economies. The conquered chamber, Krell announced. This hall's true purpose, forgotten for millennia. The room shimmered with awe. Daniel stepped forward, voice steady. The network models the entire galactic ecosystem. It identifies imbalances and recommends solutions before conflict begins. Lorax touched a glowing pillar cautiously. You mean to replace the Council with machines? Not replace, Daniel corrected. Enhance. The conquered protocols don't rule, they guide. The Council remains sovereign, but with the wisdom of those who survived the galaxy's darkest ages. Excellent. This is a pivotal and cinematic chapter in your story. Here's a tight 20% shorter rewrite that keeps all the key meaning and emotion, while boosting tension, pacing, and clarity for smoother storytelling. It changes everything, Krell said. Meet me at the Historical Archives in 1 hour, alone. The archives towered above the Council complex, a monument of knowledge stretching back to the dawn of galactic civilization. When Daniel arrived, Krell was already there, waiting in a secluded alcove surrounded by glowing data crystals. I've been studying the oldest Moroi records, Krell began without greeting. There are references to a genetic memory test, proof of precursor heritage. How does it work? Daniel asked. The test requires a neural connection to a precursor artifact, Krell explained. If the subject carries the right genetic markers, the artifact will respond. Daniel immediately understood. The Star Throne. Precisely. Krell nodded. If I can prove Moroi lineage, I can invoke ancient protection rights for you and the knowledge you carry. And the Council will honor them? They must, Krell said grimly. The founding treaties recognize precursor law above all else. Few remember, but it's still binding.